Good morning. What's up, everybody? Welcome back. Thank you so much for tuning in. We are here. We are on our way to church this morning. Say hi, everyone. And so I wanted to pop on here. We were talking, and I realized that I want to give you guys an update about what's going on as far as us pursuing our dreams and our goals. If you remember, our dream and our goal is to buy a house. And so and if you haven't been on here before, let me just give you a little bit of a background. So we have medical debt, and we have been paying off medical debt. And for those of you that may have watched or heard or remember, in 2019 we had decided, and we felt like the Lord was speaking to us and letting us know that in 2020 we will not go in debt. Like, we will not be in debt by 2020. So 2020 comes around the corner, and we don't really hear anything. The notices stop coming in.
We hear crickets.
Yeah, we're not really hearing anything, and we're like, what is going on? And so I pulled out an old form, and I look online, and I'm looking, and I'm like, okay, it still says we're in debt. So here we are in 2020, and on paper it shows that we're still in debt. And that was January. And then February, I'm like, I'm going to look again, because I just really felt like, some way, somehow, God's going to do it. I mean, if you guys don't know, or for those of you that may remember, we shot a video explaining how God wiped out almost $10,000 of our debt. Gone, just like that.
Ephesians 3:20, baby.
Yes. And so I was like, okay, God, you did it before, you're going to do it again. I really felt and believed. I mean, we did. We talked about this and really believed that we were not going to go into 2020 in debt. But so I look again, and it's February, and I'm like, man, it still shows that we owe. And it was about $13,000. So I'm like, okay. I kind of just let it go. March comes around, and it was a Friday, and I tried to go make a payment to pay off that debt. Some more of that debt, I should say. So I call, and I'm trying to pay a certain amount. And I'm like, it's a big chunk too. And I'm like, for some reason, it was not going through. And I couldn't figure out why. I kept trying. I tried online. I tried over the phone. I could not make this payment for whatever reason. And I let it go. And then Saturday came around. I was like, I'm going to try again. I'm trying to make this payment. I kept trying over and over. And throughout the day, I kept going back to try online and making those calls to try to figure out, why am I not able to make this payment? Saturday goes by. I wasn't able to get through. Sunday comes, and we go to church that morning. Well, Joel had to work, but I took the kids, with me, and we're at church, and I hear this message. It was an amazing message. I've heard the story before. I've read the story. It was a guest speaker, but he had a spin to it, and I knew it applied to our situation. And it was about this couple in the Bible who invested so much into building this room for a prophet Elijah, and it was for him that whenever he came to visit, he had a place to stay. And this couple invested so much into their home for Elijah, specifically investing in him, that he would have a place to stay, and they would provide whatever needs he needed while he was staying there. And in that story, Elijah gives a word to the woman, and he blessed her with this word, and she was just like, basically like, don't tease me, don't tell me this, because this is my heart's desire, this is what I've wanted, like, don't even go there. And he just he was telling her, he was prophesying to her, giving her a word. For her, it was that her and her husband, they wanted a child. They were childless. And so he gave this word. And long story short, the word came to pass. They got their child. And so, but at the end of the message, he challenged the church to give a X amount for the year 2020. And right away, I felt it in my spirit. I felt the Lord speak to me. Joel wasn't there to hear it. And I felt the Lord say, give this amount. Now, I know there are a lot of churches out there that may abuse, but that's not our church. Our church doesn't do that. But I also know the scripture that says, do not give out of compulsion. So, Joel not being there, I, of course, talked it over with him. We talked it out. And we came to the conclusion that, yes, we're gonna give this amount. So we gave, and we just left it alone. And, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna check to see if our debt is still there. And on paper, it still showed that it was still there, but I still couldn't make any payments. So I'm like, what is going on, right? So our update right now, I heard that message at the beginning of March, and then not too long after that, COVID hits. And we're like, okay. So we stopped making payments just in case Joel was going to lose his job or anything. We thought, you know what, let's just hold on to it. Any payments we were going to make, let's hold on to it, because if he loses his job, we're going to need that. So we did. We stopped making those payments. We stopped trying. And then June comes around the corner, and I was working out, and I was just talking to God, talking things out, and I felt the Lord show me baby step number 3. Dave Ramsey, okay, he gives these baby steps on how to get out of debt and how to save and all that stuff. So baby step number 1 is put $1,000 into your emergency fund. Baby step number 2 is pay off all debt except the house. And then baby step number 3 is save 3 to 6 months worth of expenses. So I felt baby step number 3, that we were supposed to do that. Even though on paper it still shows we have debt. But I felt we're going to skip baby step number 2 now and just go on to baby step number 3. So that was in June, and we've been doing that. We've been just not even paying debt now, and just pouring into our emergency fund, building that much. We already had $1,000. We had to work to get $1,000 into emergency fund. And so now we're working on building that 3 to 6 months expenses. Now, fast forward to 2 days ago, we get word that everybody's moving, and May 1st of 2021 is the deadline. So that gives us 9 months. So if you saw our bank account, I mean, you think we could be excited. We are excited. I'm excited. I'm super excited. I'm like, okay, yes, there's movement. There's a deadline now, and this is going to take God. Because if you saw our bank account, we're nowhere near to be able to move. So this is the update that I wanted to give you, that this is going to take God. This is going to take God. Like, I'm serious when I say that. Where we're moving to, we don't know. Are we going to buy a house, or are we going to have to rent? We don't know. But all I know is that regardless of what it's going to look like.
There is no anxiety.
No.
There's no
none
fear
whatsoever.
There's no
panic.
No panic. Like, what are we gonna do?
Right.
And it's like, well, we already know what we're gonna do. We're gonna continue to trust in the Lord.
Yeah.
And even though this it came out of left field, it didn't surprise God.
It didn't. But it didn't really surprise us, because we've been talking about this kind of back and forth.
Yeah.
About, one day it's coming. It's coming.
But my point is, nothing that ever comes our way is not gonna quench the spirit of generosity.
Yeah.
We're always gonna tithe. We're always going to give above and beyond our tithe.
Yeah.
We're going to give the first fruit. We always give the Lord the first portion.
Yes.
We always give above and beyond what we're asked to do, because that's the spirit of generosity.
Yes.
And so as long as we continue to have that spirit of generosity, I believe the Lord's going to provide, and the Lord's going to make a way where there is no way.
Yeah.
And so that's why I think the spirit of generosity outweighs the fear, and has pushed the fear out, has pushed the panic and the anxiety. Like, we just trust in God that much that we'll rather give than to hoard and try to be like, oh no, we got to save this because we don't know what's coming. I'd rather trust the Lord in my future than trust myself in my
Amen
future.
To that.
Because I've been there where I've trusted myself, and that's probably why we got in the hole in the first place.
Yeah.
We made the mistakes in the past. So spirit of generosity always outweighs everything.
Yeah.
Because there's this peace of mind. I don't know how it works. I don't have no biblical substantial evidence, but the joy on my face is biblical substantial evidence enough to say I have no fear, no worry, no doubt that God is going to come through. And I think that something supernatural happens when you give out of generosity, that it automatically pushes the fear and it settles your heart and your soul and brings peace to your mind that God's going to come through.
Yeah.
And I think that that's attached to the spirit of generosity.
And faith without works is dead. So we gave that X amount because the Lord asked us to, and we did it in faith.
Yes.
A lot of times people want to hold on to things, but when you exercise generosity, it frees you.
Yes. And it comes back on you. Like, I got a promotion at work. Mm-hmm. I got a pay raise.
Yeah.
I got more hours.
Yeah.
I was getting ready to get a part-time job because it just wasn't adding up. And then all of a sudden, I went up to my boss and I was like, hey, I'm thinking about getting a part-time job, and, do you have any extra hours? He said, actually, and then he went into it and he was like, I got a promotion.
And it was, honestly, it was so fast. So fast.
Yes.
Everything happened
Without
so fast.
delay.
And it happened right before COVID, and he was considered an essential worker.
Yep.
So where he was before COVID, turns out they started laying people off left and right.
They laid off the bottom 40 people at my other job.
And that would have been him.
And I would have been one of them. But I just transferred over to our sister company, and it became an essential job immediately.
Yeah.
And I continued working, got a promotion, got a raise, and I'm still working.
Yeah.
And I attribute that to the spirit of generosity.
Yeah.
That God was like, I see your heart, and I know that you're willing to give, and so I'm willing to give back to you.
Yeah.
And have you ride this wave of uncertainty.
Yeah.
And so I believe that God stepped in and made a way where there was no way because of the spirit of generosity.
Yeah. So, and it's not only that. Not only do we need a place to live, but
So if you have one, call us. We'll move like tomorrow.
But Layla, she's taking her classes, and so we have a lot that's going to be on our plate, but we are not worried. This is all God. It's all His money. He is the richest, and if we are ever in need of anything, He gives it to us. And so, so that is the update, you guys, and we're super excited.
9 months.
Yeah, 9 months to go.
We're going to give birth.
We'll see what happens. Seriously.
To a blessing.
Yes. So
and it all derives. If you want to birth a blessing, let it sit and soak in the spirit of generosity.
Yeah.
Live in the spirit of generosity for 9 months and then come back and tell me that you didn't give birth to a blessing.
Yeah.
I challenge you.
That's good.
We should start a 9-month birth a blessing challenge and see if you do it.
I like that.
That you
Maybe we'll
sit
do that.
and soak in the spirit of generosity, you're going to give birth to
Yeah.
a blessing. I didn't say it, the word says it.
Yeah. So there you have it, you guys. If you haven't done so already, don't forget to subscribe to keep up with the latest vlogs that come out. All right. Take care, you guys. And always remember, start today, because there's no time like the present time. Take care.